as a purveyor of common sense in the United States Senate. Let's get to our friend Deroy Murdock, nationally syndicated columnist, Project 21 ambassador, and Fox News contributor. Deroy Murdock, quite a week since we have spoken last. It never slows down.
When will we get a quiet week, Annie? We're still waiting for that to happen.
I don't know. I always say I'll sleep when I'm dead. I hope I get a little bit of rest then. You get to see, like the rest of us, these attacks, the American-Israel hand-in-hand attacks against Iran. And it does look like it's a Republican-Democrat issue once again when we look and see how the Senate and the House are going to react to it.
Well, you'd think we'd all be united on this one. I mean, it's not like Trump and the Republicans decided, hey, let's go beat up on Switzerland. This is the Iranian regime, the same people who held our 52, I think it was, hostages in the U.S. Embassy for 444 days back in 1979, 1980, early 81. And this is the same group of people who were very helpful and supportive of the Hamas terrorists who went in and killed 1,200 of our Israeli friends on October 7th. This is the same government that was responsible for the attack on the Marine barracks in Lebanon that killed, I think it was 250-ish U.S. soldiers back in 1982. Very ugly, nasty, disgusting folks. They're the biggest sponsors of state terrorism around the world. The sponsors and underwriters of Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. And there's not very much to recommend this government. So you think this incredibly efficient and swift military effort to knock out, a very pleasant surprise. I think even the Pentagon may be surprised how well it's gone. Knock out the top leadership of this bloodthirsty regime, and then I think adding almost a comic touch yesterday when they sat down to pick a new leader. As those leaders are counting the votes, the entire building blew up.
You got to start over.
The rough equivalent electoral college trying to figure, all right, who's the new supreme leader, and those guys all get blown up. So I imagine whoever's on the Plan C list is probably trying to take some time off and go visit his fishing house or his hunt club, or maybe just go hide in his mom's basement or something like that, rather than be picked to be the next supreme leader and get blasted 20 minutes later.
Yeah, you might want to wait that one out just a little bit. I want to give you the opportunity here to listen to Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, yesterday speaking.
Listen, let me explain to you guys this in simple English. Okay, Iran is run by lunatics, religious fanatic lunatics. They have an ambition to have nuclear weapons. They intend to develop those nuclear weapons behind a program of missiles and drones and terrorism that the world will not be able to touch them for fear of those things. And this is the weakest they've ever been. Now is the time to go after them. The president made the decision to go after them, take away their missiles, take away their navy, take away their drones, take away their ability to make those things so that they can never have a nuclear weapon. That's why the president made this decision. It was the right decision, and the world will be a safer place when these radical clerics no longer have access to these weapons. You see?
When you listen to Secretary of State Rubio, they're talking about religious fanatic lunatics. The left usually hates religious fanatic lunatics. I guess it's just when they're Christians.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If this were Mike Huckabee or the late Pat Robertson, they'd be foaming at their mouths. But since they're just Islamofascist religious extremists, I guess that means that's okay. But Rubio makes a very good point, which is these people, just give you an idea of how fanatical they are. This happened back in autumn 2022. There was a group of women who were protesting having to wear the hijabs and cover their faces, as you know, they had to do since Ayatollah Khomeini came in. And they arrested 20,000 people, 500 of them were killed, and I think this detail is amazing. According to the BBC, about 1,000 of these people apparently were deliberately shot in their eyes by the Iranian Republican Guard. Okay, I've never heard people deliberately getting shot in their eyes. I mean, this is just astonishing, and this is the kind of folks we're dealing with. Now, people who are that cruel and that vicious and that sick, I don't think would hesitate if they had the opportunity, if they had enough uranium to start producing atomic bombs. According to Steve Witkoff, the diplomat or envoy who's been negotiating with these people. Apparently, when they sat down to negotiate with the Iranians, they said, hey, by the way, just so you know, we have enough 60% enriched uranium to make 11 nuclear bombs. Let's say they just made one. I don't think they just sit on it. I think they might say, hey, let's try this thing out. And even if they did not get to the level where they actually could have one of these things blow up, all you need to do is take some of this enriched uranium, get one of your agents to come into the U.S. or London or Paris or Jerusalem, wherever it is, and just put it in a container, open it up, and just on a windy day, just throw it in the air and let the wind spread the stuff around and let people inhale it, and then call up a news agency and say, by the way, why don't you go into the area near the Western Wall, or go to Times Square, or go to Disney World, go to Piccadilly Circus, and bring out a Geiger counter and see what happens. And 20 minutes later, somebody shows up with the Geiger counter and goes, oh my God, look what's just happened. And you've got total bedlam, complete chaos. And you don't need a degree in radiology or nuclear physics or anything to do that. You can do that with a metal container and some wind and the ability to throw some dust up in the air, basically, or empty it out of a window of an open hotel room or something of the sort. So this is ghastly stuff. I don't have any doubt that these people would do that sort of thing if they had the opportunity, and stopping them before they do it, I think, is the thing to do. Whereas the Democrats would say, well, let's wait until something blows up or we have an incident like that, and then let's step in and do something about it. I'd rather take care of it now before it's a problem.
What do you think about, Deroy, the Democrats standing in front of the funding of the Department of Homeland Security right now, TSA, all of these people who are tasked with keeping the homeland secure?
Well, I don't think there's any good time to do it, but this is a particularly bad time to do it. At the time you've got something like, I believe it's somewhere around 700 or so Iranian nationals who were allowed to come into the country after they crossed the border by Joe Biden. Another, I think it's about 2,000 known gotaways who we saw them running across. We think they're Iranians, and then others we may not even know. We don't know the number. We don't know the number of unknown gotaways. That's impossible to know. Those folks, let's hope they're all here just because they want to work hard. But let's say that 2% of them are here because they want to hurt us or kill us. If that's another, 5, 6, 8, 10 people who decide they want to pull off a stunt like this, or just, all you need is one or two lone rats to get, some assault rifles and decide to go stand up in the middle of a big intersection, open fire, or just take a car and just wait till pedestrians are going through a crosswalk and floor it. You don't need to do anything fancy or dramatic or anything that requires a degree from MIT or the Sorbonne or some major technical academy. You can create all sorts of mayhem with basically a car and a gas pedal, as we've seen. So I really hope this doesn't happen, and we need at the moment, at a time like this when you could have people who are either sent here to go come and kill us, or they could just decide, hey, I saw this on TV, I don't like what I see, I'm going to take it out on my own, like this guy in Austin, Texas seems to have done. You want the Department of Homeland Security to be absolutely on guard, working as hard as they can, fully focused on this to prevent any kind of an attack of that sort, or God forbid, if it does happen, be able to track down the perpetrators, find out who sent them, and make sure it doesn't happen again. And right now, because these people aren't getting paid, some of them are unable to make it to work. Some of them are at work, but they're sitting there, half focused on their duties, and I can't blame them for this, half thinking, how am I going to pay the rent? How am I going to pay for childcare? How am I going to pay for my gasoline? How am I going to pay for food? And there's no good time for this, but there's a particularly a bad time for these people to have their attention spans divided rather than unified on keeping anything like what I've just described to you from happening.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Deroy Murdock speaking with us right now, a nationally syndicated columnist, Project 21 ambassador, and Fox News contributor. I wanted to ask you before we let you go about the primary results from yesterday, any that you were particularly watching. I know that the Jasmine Crockett one is of particular interest, more probably to the Republicans that she blamed for her loss. What do you think about the redistricting in Texas and how it's going to affect the makeup of the House of Representatives and the loss of Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett in her Senate race?
Well, I was just weeping that after November we won't be able to see her anymore. It's so sad.
I think she'll find a way to be seen.
I don't think she's going to go quietly into the good night, as they say. Yeah, my bigger concern is the Senate primary with the incumbent John Cornyn and Paxton now going into runoff. What this means is that you're going to have the Republicans continuing to collide each other for the next, couple of months, dividing the party, making people more bitter and acrimonious, while on the other side, this guy, Talarico, who's a brand new guy, fresh face, nobody's seen before, unified, doesn't have to face a runoff. He'll be able to raise money. He'll be able to start campaigning, knocking on doors, et cetera, et cetera. And that's not necessarily a good scenario. Now, he's portraying himself as a moderate, as a centrist. I think he's some sort of a religious minister, that sort of thing, as opposed to Jasmine Crockett, who's just basically a very loud whack job. He comes across as much more reasonable. But if you look at his actual vote record.
Do you write campaign commercials for Talarico? You just wrote one for him.
I guess
in
I
that
just
primary.
did, right? Yeah. And he comes across as kind of low key and very young, good looking, young, good looking guy, as opposed to Cornyn, who's I think running for his 5th term, which means he's been there already, for 24 years, looking for another 30, or going to come to 30 if he finishes that term. And
it's going to cost a lot of money.
A lot of money. If you look at Talarico's vote record, he has a CPAC, American Conservative Union score of about 15%. Now, Jasmine Crockett has about a 5, so she's definitely to his left. But the idea that this guy is some kind of a middle-of-the-road centrist, 30, 45% AC rating, no, he's 15%, which puts him in the far left quintile. Yeah. But he comes across, he presents himself. He's not loud and profane, and he certainly will come across as much more reasonable. So I think that's going to be a challenging race, whether it's Cornyn wins the primary, if Paxton does. I think Paxton's the more solid conservative, but Paxton's had all sorts of colorful things in his marriage and a lot of other things like this. I think he has a lot more baggage to deal with. So I think it's going to be maybe a winnable race, but a lot tougher than Jasmine Crockett. I think is basically almost like Maxine Waters Jr. I think it's a lot easier. Would have been a lot easier running against her than against Talarico. So it's going to be a bigger challenge, which is the last thing we need right now.
I'm going to put a little faith in Texas in this one and hope that they get it right. 100%.
Hopefully so. Mm-hmm.
Deroy, thank you. Always love to speak with you.
Okay, great to you.
Take care.
To speak with you, Annie. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Deroy Murdock, nationally syndicated columnist, Fox News contributor, and Project 21 ambassador. Check out Project 21. It's a great organization. We're going to talk a little bit about Talarico when we come back. We're going to play a clip. Just if you're not familiar with this guy, you're going to want to learn a little bit about him. He's going to try to win a seat in the Senate for Texas. Ooh, woof. In the words of Ethan Hannaford. Woof. All right. We're going to speak with Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg in 12 minutes, so keep it right here. We're going to find out what the general has to say about the Iran situation, the declaration of war powers resolution act, vote going on in Congress. Is this a righteous action on the administration's part? I have a feeling I know the general direction, no pun intended, that he's going to take, but I'd love to hear it in his own words. Hopefully you will too. Lieutenant General Keith Kellogg in 12 minutes. We'll be right back.
New tax resolution firms are popping up every day with high-paid celebrity